Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything movies, TV, comics, and entertainment. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to a special edition of Fanlight Zone Presents. My name is Ken M. You know me as the host of the ODPH podcast, but also the editor-chief here at FLZ. And folks, when the Energon universe is coming back with a brand new number one, it is a comic shop stopping event because they have been delivering hits since Void Rivals, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and now Mobile Armored Strike Command is coming back in a monster way. But let alone when you have a creative team behind such books as TMNT Shredder, Nightwing, the modern Batman classic, which if everybody hasn't picked this up, you need to go buy it. Batman Dark Patterns. You pair that writer with the high-octane art that comes from an artist known from New Gods and Petrolhead. You have a winning combination that you can't afford to miss on June 10th. So please welcome to the show the creative team behind M.A.S.K number one, Dan Waters and Parr. Guys, what is going on?
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hey man, how are you?
Oh, super excited to talk to you guys because obviously with M.A.S.K coming back, it is a big deal. And from the franchise has been around since 1985 to now, bringing these characters in, how did this whole story come to be to the Energon universe?
I mean, I think it's something that the sort of team there had planned for a while, and it was sort of humming in the background. And then I'd done the Destro book, which led into G.I. Joe. And we all really enjoyed working on that. So the editor on that book, Ben Abernathy, he and I were looking for something else. And then when this came around, it sort of felt like a no-brainer. It's something that I immediately connected to possibly easier than I might with like Transformers or something. And then we were looking for artists, and then we sort of both pointed to Petrolhead. Pi seemed like an absolute no-brainer because no one draws car chases and cars like Pi.
No, absolutely. You couldn't ask for a better artist on this one, too. And going into the story, in case anybody's not familiar with M.A.S.K, what is the elevator pitch for the series?
So the elevator pitch for this version of M.A.S.K in particular, which is part of the Energon universe, is that you've seen you've got a lot of big space stuff happening in Void Rivals. You've got that stuff impacting the Earth in Transformers. And then you've got this sort of big military response to it in G.I. Joe. And this is the book that's more about ordinary people on the ground and how they react to the world changing. So the members of M.A.S.K are not soldiers, they're not sort of warriors, they're people that Matt Tracker, who's the scientist behind all of the equipment, has sort of handpicked from around the world to form this network that is basically a response network. So when things happen, he pings you on your M.A.S.K watch, and you're activated, and you go where he tells you, and you do what he tells you. So it's just like the sort of worm's eye view on the Energon universe is kind of starting mentality for the book.
No, that's a perfect way to do it because with this series or this universe, I mean, there's so many different directions it can go. And to bring this perspective in, I think is a really refreshing one. And for Pi, for you coming into the series, you think about refreshing these characters because they've been around since 1985. Like, what has been like the most radical challenge for you in dealing with these characters and bringing them to a modern age, would you say?
I think getting over the version that you remember in your head is kind of quite difficult because obviously I was a bit of a fan of the series before you start, but obviously it needs updating whilst staying true to the original version. And part of me wants to keep it identical, and part of me wants to completely throw everything out the window and change. So it's striking that middle ground between changing things for the sake of them and trying to keep the essence of the original.
I think it's got to be a challenge too, because especially with how the Energon universe has had the G.I. Joe franchise and the Transformers, it has to be a very difficult thing too, because you have such a built-in fan base. And M.A.S.K has one. I mean, from the animated series from '85 to the toys, there is that fan base that you want to try striving for perfection, but that's always got to be such a thing for an artist to say, like, do I want to take this in such a bold, different, new path, or keep it on the same route?
Yeah, exactly. And sort of do people think the same thing about me? You know, some toys I thought were perfect, and some I don't was never such a fan of. And you kind of think, am I changing that just from my own personal preference, or am I doing that because everyone thinks this and it's a good idea? That's it.
Yeah. Now, have you both been?
I'm trying to think of a good example. But I mean,
Oh,
like
I'm sorry.
the
I
Thunderhawk's a
apologize.
good one because that's no, sorry. Yeah, Thunderhawk's a perfect example because it's like it's so iconic that you can't change it too much, but at the same time, you know, it's not a licensed vehicle, so I have got to make some changes to make it legally usable. Yeah.
No, completely fair with that. Now, have you both been fans of the franchise, like since it came out, like an animation and the toys you were alluding to?
Yeah. I had loads of the toys when I was a kid, so
Yeah.
I did. Not the cartoon, not so much, just because it wasn't on the TV as much as or I never saw it anyway. But certainly the toys I had loads of, so I'm a big fan of. You know, I think it's one of those things that becomes when I look back, I think actually that was quite formative. Like 80s sports cars is still something that I find quite exciting now.
Yeah. No, I could hear that.
For
And
me, it
Dan?
was. I mean, it was kind of. I missed the boat there a little bit because I'm a '90s kid, rather than. So I wasn't around for the first wave. There were definitely like, some of the toys sort of kicking about when I was a kid, and they always thought they looked bizarre and cool, and was always sort of interested in buying them. But there was no internet by then. Couldn't
Yeah.
Google it. I had no idea what these were. But I think with the Energon universe, you have two sides to the sort of fan base where you have the people who remember it from the first time around, and then you have people who see this as an opportunity to discover these things that they don't maybe know so well. And I think I like to think I can sort of stand in for the second party there.
Yeah. And I mean, like I say, with the Energon universe is a great bridgeway for fans that weren't around when those cartoons came out or had the toys to really kind of understand what the fan base is all about with it because Mask was such a cool franchise. I remember watching the cartoon when I was a kid. I had Condor. That was my favorite toy of the line there. And, to see it now come on into this universe has always been something special, and especially for you, Dan, you alluded to about writing Destro too. What is it about the Energon universe that excites you to be a part of it as a creator?
I mean, I think anything where you're coming in on the ground floor and there's a wealth of source material to pull on, and there's kind of the encouragement to play with it and see what new sort of configurations it might be slotted into. Those are always really, really appealing, sort of tasks. So when you can come in at the ground floor of something like the Energon universe, it's just a gift.
Yeah. And Pi, you're coming into this universe now. For you, jumping in, bringing your action to this universe, has there been a sequence thus far that we can kind of tease a little bit that you're waiting just for fans to get a hold of? Because I know for me in issue one, there's one sequence I can't wait for fans to check out.
Go on, which is it? Be sort of vague.
The, it's the opening sequence in my head. I'm hearing Motley Crue kickstart my heart. Like the opening sequence, I swear that and I'm getting pumped up watching it with Matt Tracker and what he is doing in that opening.
Yeah, that's a perfect example actually of just stuff that's really fun when you get to like smash these things together and almost play with them like they were toys. And that opening thing is I thoroughly enjoyable. And there's a few of those. Like I'm trying to think what's in the second one. There's actually no. Well, the most exciting stuff. Issue 3 has got something pretty amazing in it, which is a big double page spread, which I spent quite a long time on. It's when two characters sort of meet for the first time, shall we say?
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to eat spoilers, but because, like I say, when everybody picks up issue number one, it's going to be an instant hook. And like I said, that opening sequence, it just, I am always excited to talk Energon Universe. And I'm reading this, I'm just going to I'm getting amped up doing it. And that was the instant hook. I'm just like, this is going to be a smash without
Yeah.
question. And for Dan, going into the writing for this, Matt Tracker is not exactly your typical hero, shall you say? Let's talk about the complexity of his character.
Yeah, I mean, he's so much fun. Because he's not a soldier. He's a scientist, and the sort of way he was presented to me as how we're going to differentiate Mask from GI Joe and all these sort of things is like one of the sort of starting points was Matt Tracker is one of the smartest people in the Energon universe.
Mhm.
And the sort of thing that developed as we were sort of working on it is he's one of the smartest people in the Energon universe, but by God, does he know it?
Yeah.
So sort of writing him as this guy who sort of knows everything, but he's that's meant that he's kind of ostracized himself from everyone. in that, he always knows best. He always knows you're going to do what he tells you because he's figured it all out. And then the sort of struggle of that character then trying to actually herd cats and manage a team. I think that's like the main challenge for Matt Tracker, as we sort of go into this.
I love one of my favourite things that
do
you've done. Sorry, dude. One of my favourite things you've done is you were saying earlier about how, he calls people up and they have to answer, but because he's a bit of a prat, that sometimes quite begrudgingly, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's a general sort of dynamic he has with a lot of the Mask network. Is there people that he's encountered through his life, and he knows they're the best at what they do, and they know that he's fundamentally doing things for the right reasons. So they are going to help him, but they all don't. It doesn't mean they all have to like him.
No, definitely not. But I mean, that's a great thing about the character too, because there's just so much more to him than just being the leader of the franchise. And of course, he has to have a great villain to play off him. So, Pi, when you're working with Miles, what has been probably the best part of working with such a villain like that?
Yeah, I mean, he's thoroughly enjoyable because he's sort of not evil and he knows it, but there's like there's something kind of this is going to sound ridiculous. There's something very Shakespearean about having a bad guy who's enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Sort of grinning evilly and just getting on with doing whatever they need to do, and that's great. There's loads of I think it is in the first issue where you have this little cutaway to him revealing just how mad he is. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a really, really nice sort of reveal when he's having a bit of a monologue. Or, well, you don't think it's a monologue, but
No, when that sequence hits, trust me, fans are going to have a reaction for it, and it's brilliant too, by the way. Because I'll admit I was right there with it. I'm like, oh, what? Oh, like that was the instant reaction to that whole sequence. But like I say, it's such a cool thing to do because, like I say, with Mayhem, just embracing his role and really giving Tracker a true test. I mean, that we know this coming, but just with what he's been setting up with Venom, I mean, it's just a fun thing to see. And I think when fans really dive into this series, they're really going to be getting hooked on it. And for both of you, is there a character that we haven't seen yet that you say that's going to be the breakout character that you can allude to? Because, like I said, I want to keep the spoiler free. That you think fans are going to be like, "Wow!"
like I know who I'm excited to see, and is he? Don't know. She? They are not necessarily human.
Oh, okay.
I think it's too much of a spoiler to sort of say. We've sort of said if you like Mask, the things you remember are going to be there. So Scott, Tracker, T-Bob, they are coming down the line, and I think in ways that necessarily won't be expected. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people make of that.
Okay, because like I say, especially adapting that franchise. I mean, to keep fans guessing is going to be something true. But you see with like the other Energon universes, like they are breaking off in their own piece, and of course, M.A.S.K is going to be doing the same thing. Like I say, after issue number 1, I can fully say that this is going to be such a monster hit for what you're bringing to the Energon universe and for fans in general too, because with everything that's been going on in this line by Skybound has just been absolutely incredible. And now to kind of have a little fun here, we are dealing with a lot of crossovers in comics. If you could grab any characters from any franchise that you've worked on previously, legal rights be whatever, waivers cleared, who would you bring in for a M.A.S.K one-off mission and why?
Does it have to be a comic or literally anything?
Yep, literally, playbook's wide open.
I'm trying to think of someone with a vehicle would be quite good.
Who's that again?
Go on, Dan.
I think the obvious route for me would be, the Batman match crossover would be pretty great. But we could transform the Batmobile into something instead.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of sort of other silly sort of 80s TV programs. So you could have like Knight Rider or something like that.
Oh, that would be something. Kit with M.A.S.K, I'm all in about. I'm all in about.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That would be fun. And then if you could adapt any other cartoon, just not even say an Energon universe, but I mean, obviously it'd be a great fit if they're part of it. What franchise would you love to see come back in this manner and why?
Starcom, I always quite enjoyed, just because, like M.A.S.K, really great toys, and really the spaceship designs were fantastic.
Excellent choice, Dan.
really bonkers one that I remember from my childhood is Mummies Alive,
Okay.
which
I
were
don't even know what that is.
yeah, they were ancient Egyptian mummies, and they had amulets, and they would transform into sort of like Power Rangers, but they were undead guardians of the tomb.
Yeah. I vaguely remember those, but yeah, they were
I'm gonna have
a
to Google it.
unique one. Yeah, they're
Didn't
definitely
it
unique.
didn't run very long.
Right. Yeah, because I think it came around the time of Visionaries and all that, because with the amulets and powers and such, it does that. But maybe we'll see him in the Energon universe one day. But until then, June 10th is the day you fans have to go down to the comic shops and make sure you're walking out with a copy of Mask #1. Dan, Pi, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with me today. Definitely have to catch up down the road.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. And thank you again for checking out another edition of Fanlight Zone Presents. We'll see you next time.
It's such wasted time swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Ooh, ooh, talk to me. Ooh, talk to me. It's such waste of time swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.